Should your next tool for your garage or your shop be a 3D printer? I'm Dan, this is Tech and Tools, let's get into it. Now here in my garage, I do just a little bit of everything, from woodworking to a little bit of metal work to welding, just to all kinds of different things. And I have found all kinds of uses for 3D printing. Now I bought my first printer about a year and a half ago, and I started with an Anycubic Cobra 2 Neo. And it was a fun printer, fun to learn on, fun to learn the aspect of 3D printing. From there, I got hooked and I upgraded to a Creality K1 Max was the next one I went to, and then I ended up with the printer that's sitting behind me, which is a Creality Ender 3 V3. Those have been my three printers that I've owned in the last year, and I have absolutely fallen in love with it. But let's get to the point of the video and talk about how I use it in the shop. Now, one of the first things I started printing whenever I got a 3D printer was tool holders for all my power tools. Now, I have primarily Milwaukee tools, a few DeWalt's, but all of the holders that these are all holding on are all 3D printed, from the battery holders to the tool holders themselves, all of this 3D printed. So there's a check for going right into the, should you get a 3D printer? You can buy these things, or you can print them yourself. Now, another one of the first tools that I printed on my first Anycubic printer was this right here. This is a little lathe sharpening jig, and you can buy these online for like 60 bucks, but I had a 3D printer and I wanted to try it. And this little tool has come in so handy. Another tool that I printed a year and a half ago that I've used a lot are these right here. There's a few hanging behind me, but these are router jigs. If you have a piece you're trying to put a corner over or round over corner on, you can slide the jig right on there, run your router around, and get that nice, perfect bevel on it. Now, this is another one that has got a lot of use over the last year or so. I believe I printed this on one of my Creality printers, but I picked up this Craig jig. I believe this was part of the K3 series from years ago, and it didn't come with any of the clamps or anything else for it, and I wanted a quick way to make a lot of pocket holes. And so I found the file for this right here online and just put it in, printed it just like that. I can take this here. Now, the one thing I did do was I just designed these little pieces. So here's a little block that this one is labeled as 1.5 inches. So I can slide it on here, and if I have a piece of 1.5 inch material, I can do that, clamp it down, and just like that, I can drill my holes. Now, instead of having to make a lot of adjustments or anything like that, I made it to where I can pull these off. And let's say I have some 3/4 inch material. I made another block and designed it so I can just slide it right over that nut. And then I can take my 3/4 inch material without having to really make any other adjustments other than changing these blocks out. This is just the beauty of what you can do with a 3D printer. If you need something, you can make it. You can make it your own. You can design your own things. Let's take a look at a couple more things in my shop that maybe you guys could use in yours. Now, this here is a height gauge for my table saw. So let's say I want to go up to cutting 1 1/8 inches. I just slide that over there, turn it up right till it touches, and there I know that I'm getting ready to cut 1 1/8 inches. So now we're over here at the toolbox, and you can just see, especially when it comes to organization, this is a holder for some of my punches, as well as a holder for my files, down to the wrenches. These here are, I love these. I have printed probably hundreds of these for a lot of my mechanic buddies. They just clip together, and then you can just put them in line for how many ever wrenches you got. These things make it super easy to organize stuff like that. On down to my wrenches, or I'm sorry, my pliers. You can see here, just printed these little trays, and the pliers just kind of lay right in these trays. Keeps them all pretty well organized. I need to do a little bit better job, but when it comes to organization, these things right here and a 3D printer are just dandy. So the question, should a 3D printer be your next purchase for your shop? And I guess the answer is, it really depends. I would say yes. Now, I'm not getting paid by any of these printers manufacturers. I've bought all these printers. I don't even have enough followers to have an affiliate program. So this is all just my general advice. over the last year and a half, I have found the 3D printers that I own to be extremely useful, especially once you kind of dive in to doing more than just downloading all the free files. I encourage you, if you do buy a 3D printer, to download Onshape. Once again, not sponsored. I started with Fusion and found Onshape just to be a whole lot easier to learn for me. And now I'm able to design custom parts if I want, design certain things. I just designed these little plugs. These are made out of TPU. They're foldable. So the little things like this, it's easy to learn. Now, if you're willing to do that, take the time to learn a little bit about 3D printing. Yes, buy one. It's going to be a huge helpful tool in your shop and really all around your house. Once you start, you will find yourself 3D printing everything. I guarantee you. It becomes kind of an addiction. As far as what printer to go with, I can't tell you what I don't know. So that being said, my first printer was a Cobra 2 Neo from Anycubic. It was a great little printer, great one to learn on. And then I got into the Creality ecosystem, and I absolutely love Creality. I know there's a lot of people that talk a lot of crap about Creality, but personally myself, I've had no problems other than in the last year, a little over a year that I've had the Crealities. I've had, I think, 2 nozzle clogs and 1 extruder clog. Typical maintenance type stuff. You just clear it out, take it apart, put it back together. It's good to go within 10 minutes. So those are normal things that happen with 3D printers. But as far as anything else going wrong with them, I have had no problem whatsoever. So for me, I can personally recommend a Creality Ender 3 V3. I also have the Creality K1 Max upstairs in my office. And I can tell you, for me, they have been really good printers. I don't have any multicolor printers yet. If you want to get into multicolor printers, I know Creality just released their K2 Plus, and as well, Bamboo Lab has the stronghold on the market for multicolor and really 3D printing in general. Bamboo Lab is kind of the top of the line right now. And they have some very, very affordable options. So I'm not going to tell you not to go that way. Everything I've seen on them looks good. Bamboo Lab, if you want to hook me up, I'd love to test your printers as well. But from what I have bought, and I purchased all of these printers with my own money, and I have used Crealities, and I absolutely love them. So should you get a 3D printer for your shop? Personally, I say yes. Once you get into it, you're going to love it. You're going to find it very, very useful. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm Dan. This is Tech and Tools. If you liked the video, if you don't care, hit like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next one.